boom, and people yelling and screaming.
Another attack rattles American Jews, this time in Boulder, Colorado. The latest on the investigation into the act of violence at a peaceful gathering.
As you step out the door this morning, not too shabby. Temperatures in the 60s across the board, but it's going to be a little bit stickier out there, and rain chances will start tomorrow. We'll talk about that further coming up.
And President Trump's big budget package heads to the Senate this week as some members of his own party are pushing for major changes to the bill.
A live look outside in Rogers here at 5:30 this morning. 5 News This Morning starts now.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News This Morning.
Well, good morning. Thanks so much for waking up with us. It was a really nice weekend, but I think on this Monday, a bit of bad news that we're going to have more rain this week.
I know. Sorry. I'll hide my eyes to say it. But the good news is today it's going to be very nice. A little bit warmer, so maybe, step outside, enjoy the weather today, because yes, that rain is going to be on the way starting tomorrow, but much of the day tomorrow I think will be dry. We'll show you right now what's going on for the next 12 hours or so for Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Temperatures, again, as you walk out the door, not shabby in the 60s. Then as you get later into the afternoon, by lunchtime, we're getting close to the 80s, if not hitting the 80s area wide. I think we'll top off in the mid 80s there, or top out in the mid 80s, I should say, into the late afternoon and evening hours. For the River Valley, you're going to notice more of the same, a little bit warmer, obviously. Plenty of sunshine we'll stick around with, and you can see some areas getting into the low 90s for the late afternoon, early evening hours. I think we'll see similar conditions for us tomorrow, as long as that cloud cover stays out. Now, the dew points are going to be something we'll be talking about a lot this week, because we're going to see a lot of moisture. It's not going to feel great out there with dew points in the upper 60s and low 70s. And what that also means is with more moisture, a little bit better of a chance of rain. So today, not expecting any of that rain. Tomorrow, it's on the lower side as well. It'll be more overnight, but then starting Wednesday and then really on and off throughout the weekend and into the foreseeable future, we're going to have plenty of rain chances. So we're going to talk about that further here coming up in your full forecast. For now, we'll take a look at traffic here. We'll look along Highway 412 here. This is going to be at that is my rainfall there, is that Sonora at Beaver Lake there along Highway 412. Not too shabby out there, and no traffic incidents report. Of course, we'll let you know if there's anything, and we'll have that full forecast coming up in about 10 minutes. Joe and Tiffany.
All right, thanks for that, Danny. Well, continuing coverage this morning of the manhunt for Grant Harden.
It's now been over a week since he escaped from North Central Unit Prison in Calico Rock, Arkansas. Since then, search teams have been using every means necessary to find him. On May 25th, Harden escaped using a makeshift police uniform and walked out of the prison. The reward for information on his whereabouts has now reached up to $25,000.
I think that speaks to how much of a threat they view this and how dangerous. We've said from day one, you look at the charges that Mr. Harden had and everything. This is an individual that they do not want out on the loose.
He says teams have been using as many resources as possible, including canines, drones, and ATVs. There have been multiple possible sightings of Harden, including one in Sebastian County. However, officials tell us their main focus is still in northern Arkansas.
Grant Harden has a pretty lengthy background in law enforcement. Just a reminder here, he has experience as a police chief, police officer in multiple towns and cities, and he was a constable for one district. He also worked as a correctional officer at the Northwest Arkansas Community Center in Fayetteville from November 2016 until his arrest for the murder in February 2017. The center was the all-female facility during the time Harden worked there. Now, with the manhunt now in its second week, you can follow all the developments as the search continues to expand. That's on our website, 5newsonline.com. We'll bring you any developments as soon as they come into our newsroom. Well, developing this morning, the FBI and police investigating after an attacker threw Molotov cocktails at a group of peaceful marchers over the weekend.
The group was walking to raise awareness for the October 7th Israeli hostages on Sunday in Boulder, Colorado. At least 8 people were injured, with one person's injuries considered to be serious. The suspect was taken into custody at the scene. Witnesses say a man identified by the FBI as 45-year-old Mohammed Sabrin Soleiman used a makeshift flamethrower and threw Molotov cocktails, burning people who were marching to support the Israeli hostages held in Gaza. Witnesses and authorities say the suspect was heard yelling phrases, including "Freed Palestine," before he was taken into custody at the scene.
It's clear that this is a targeted act of violence, and the FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism.
As U.S. officials confirmed to CBS News that the suspect is an Egyptian national who overstayed his visa after entering the U.S. in August of 2022. He has recently lived in Colorado Springs. The FBI says it is also conducting operations in El Paso County. Well, the White House says that President Trump has been briefed on the attack. We'll continue following updates on the investigation and bring you the latest updates around the clock on the free 5 News app.
And let's take a live look outside in Washington, D.C. this morning, where President Trump's budget bill will head to the Senate this week. Now, it is facing some fierce pushback from some conservatives. Naomi Ruckham tells us how the president is rallying for the votes needed to get it passed.
On CBS Face the Nation Sunday, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul said he wants to vote for President Trump's one big beautiful bill, but he and at least 3 other Republican senators aren't there yet.
The math doesn't really add up.
The bill narrowly passed in the House last month. Much of the pushback surrounds a hike in the debt ceiling, a non-starter for some hardline fiscal conservatives. Over the weekend, President Trump warned the senator about opposing the legislation. In a post, he said Paul would be playing into the hands of Democrats and that his constituents would never forgive him. Meantime, on trade, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said he is confident the dispute between the U.S. and China will be ironed out, but was stern about China releasing crucial goods like minerals used in computer chips and batteries for electric cars.
What China is doing is they are holding back products that are essential for the industrial supply chains of India, of Europe, and that is not what a reliable partner does.
Bessent did not give a timeline for fresh talks between President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping, just saying that the two would have a discussion soon. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Well, just days before a Senate confirmation vote, the White House is pulling its nomination to lead NASA. Billionaire entrepreneur Jared Isaacman had been up for the job. The president did not offer, though, a reason for the decision.
Canada is putting out a call for help to battle massive preseason wildfires. As of Sunday night, over 180 fires were burning, with 90 of them out of control. Thousands have been evacuated.
They woke us all up at 4 a.m. to get out of our houses to go further into the community because the fire was coming. That was the scariest thing I ever went through.
2 provinces have declared states of emergency. Fire officials say all available Canadian personnel are involved trying to stop the spread of these wildfires. Now they're asking for international help. The U.S. Forest Service is deploying an air tanker in Alberta. Now firefighters and equipment are also on the way. Meanwhile, the smoke is driving south across the border. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency says air quality has reached unhealthy levels in several states, including Minnesota, North and South Dakota, and Montana.